Hi, welcome to this session where Spark New Zealand will share some of their insights about how they are preparing for 5G. So first of all, I have the pleasure to introduce Nilay from Spark New Zealand. So Nilay, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Nilay and I'm Domain Chapter Lead at Spark New Zealand. Me and my team look after orchestration and inventory area at Spark. And I've been recently tasked to look at telco cloud strategy at Spark.
Hi, thank you. And I'm Michael Tado. I'm Chief Technologist Telco for Red Hat, based out of Singapore. And I'm looking after large telco opportunities for Red Hat in Asia Pacific. Okay. So yeah, Nilay, could you maybe first share with the audience, what is of course Spark is a telco service provider, but could you share a little bit more about Spark New Zealand?
Yeah, so Spark is a digital service provider in New Zealand. We do provide telecommunication services like mobile, fixed line, wireless broadband, enterprise connectivity, and other value-added services as well. We also provide a live sports streaming platform like Spark Sports. So that's Spark.
Thank you. And where is Spark right now with regards to the, let's say, the deployment of 5G?
So we are starting with rolling out 5G in limited area at the moment and some visions of Spark. But our wider rollout of 5G is not kicked off yet. What we have decided is we're basically going to take a pause and look at our telco cloud strategy and get ready for the 5G rollout at a scale. So we've been preparing to get ready with telco cloud architecture for the main 5G rollout.
Excellent. And let's say, what are especially in your domain, what are the main things that you need to prepare for the the more massive rollout of 5G?
So with telco cloud, we've taken different strategies. So we've started a squad that looks after Spark's telco cloud strategy, which include me and other people from various areas of business. So we started workshops in last year, October. We also wanted to go part of this journey with our suppliers as well. So we invited about 7 to 8 different suppliers who we work with to share their experience implementing telco cloud at other countries and with other customers. We had good learning from there. We also did dig out on our current state architecture for telco cloud. We realized that we've got vertical implementation of telco cloud with different suppliers, which we definitely did not want to continue with in future. So from the industry experience and from our understanding or our experience of current state architecture, we started putting together a started drawing future architecture that we need for telco cloud.
So, and I believe you, as part of that preparation, you decided to build what is called a horizontal telco cloud. And so what were the main drivers for you to take that decision?
Yeah, sure. We realized that we've got 5 different distribution of OpenStack in current state architecture. And we realized that if we wanted to be in the pilot seat, and take ownership of the platform, that's not going to work. We can't maintain 5 different teams who have understanding of 5 different distribution of OpenStack. Also, we wanted to build automation on OpenStack. While we know that 5G is on cloud native architecture, we know that telco is going to have some workload that is going to run on virtualized or VM fashion for a while now. And if you want to automate this stuff on OpenStack, we cannot run with 5 different distribution of OpenStack. So we thought that automation strategy in mind. And also, Spark wanted to take in the ownership of the OpenStack environment. We thought it's probably wise to go with horizontal platforms, whether it is OpenStack or whether it's Kubernetes in the data centers.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. And in fact, there are many telcos now around the world who have started to adopt that approach for the very same reason. There is, but you talked a lot about OpenStack. Can you also talk, about the layer which is on top, which is the what is called usually the orchestration, Mano, NFV, VNFM, VNF manager? What are your plans in this area on top?
Yeah. Again, from the learning that we had with different suppliers on different implementation, and we had to kind of overlay that with the region that we are in, New Zealand, and our business as well. We made few key decisions that we're gonna live with for a while now. But if you look at orchestration in Mano, there is VNF manager that basically does lifecycle management of VNF function, and there's an FPO. Now we realize that implementing generic VNF manager could be very difficult, when you're dealing with different suppliers and different VNF workloads. So we kind of say that we will have different or supplier-specific VNF manager, but we will generalize the experience on top using some adapters. When we came to NFVO, we realized that core component part of NFVO is service orchestration. We have been looking at doing implementation of our service provisioning application using open source tools. So we thought with the synergy that we are going with in service provisioning application and other applications that we have available at Spark already, which is configuration management, inventory, and so on. We thought at these synergies to follow the same method and same architecture. So we've decided to go implement our own NFVO application.
Okay, very interesting. And I think there's another aspect to the automation. So when we're talking about let's say OpenStack and Mano, so it's the workloads, like the mobile core, these kind of things which you can automate there. But there is also the connection. These things need to be connected to the network. So I think there's also kind of network automation, more the wide area networks that goes to each with SDN. So what is your approach in this area?
Yeah, I guess we looked at the SDN solution, but I think SDN solution imposes dependency on the hardware, choice of hardware that you go with in your telco cloud implementation. We always thought that telco cloud is about commoditizing hardware. We never wanted to put restriction on hardware by choosing automation layer that basically is putting restriction there. And we also we've got large set of hardwares in current network already that we want to work with. So we thought that instead of going with SDN, proprietary SDN solution, let's try and assess how we can build automation suite that can support Spark in building SDN like APIs, right? And I think the conversation so far has been very interesting. We've got competency to do automation. We've got network team that's really excited to do and take part into the our network automation journey. So our current stand is we're basically going to build our own network automation architecture that provides network as a service function in form of APIs.
Okay. So is it correct to say that you are going to, as part of the end-to-end automation solution, there is quite a large part, or let's say a significant part of it, where in fact it's your own people, your own teams who are going to develop this automation instead of relying on a vendor solution?
Well, I think that's right. We are going to do that. We do that for IT a lot at Spark. We are always SI when there's an implementation. We do take help from a lot of suppliers when we need to fill in the competency. But like IT, and we do it all times at IT, we are going to do telco cloud implementation mostly ourselves. When I say ourselves, we are relying on partner, but we will be driving the architecture and strategy for telco cloud. Yeah, it's right that it often adds risk to your plate. When you're doing a big implementation yourself, you need to have people and competency to drive that outcome. But yeah, I think we will be doing that for telco cloud. I think we are ready.
So it makes a lot of sense, because what you are saying is that you are taking competency that you already have acquired on the IT side, and in fact you are kind of applying it now to the network by being less, let's say, dependent on ready-made solutions from vendors.
Absolutely. Okay. I think that one more thing that we are doing there is when we looked at the use cases that we wanted to implement as an immediate priority, instead of doing 5G use cases, we will try out our solution or future preferred solution by implementing use cases that are less risky. For example, other benefit for New Zealand is that we don't think that scalability of network application is immediate priority for us. What we want to do, however, is expand our network into more data centers and do automation on deploying application faster, So we are trying to focus on those use cases first, and get ready with 5G. When there's scalability required, I think by the time we are there for 5G use cases, we'll have more future-proof architecture, and we've got learnings from implementation that we're doing now.
And what is the role of open source software for you in this whole transformation?
We are quite early adopters of open source software. So we did do implementation of open source integration platform at Spark with Red Hat last year, and that's been quite successful. We are going to now it's getting into our gene. We're trying to do some stuff in digital area as well. Creating more APIs in open source platform using tools like OpenShift, for example. So our automation architecture, when we start implementing the automation architecture, the orchestration piece, we're quite keen to build on open source platform. Again, that's entirely because our competency in service provisioning platform area is moving towards open source. So we'll leverage the same competency and apply on an FVO layer as well. I'm sure that when there's areas where we don't think that we want to build competency in future, we might buy a tool, that basically is going to help us fast track the development, But our future strategy is to try and leverage open source competency or capabilities as much as possible, where possible.
Okay. And since you're going to develop yourself part of the solution, is it correct to assume that you are going to use the cloud native development techniques to make this possible?
Absolutely. I think that's when it comes to automation, that's going to be focused. Our orchestration tool that will build for future, whether it is an FVO or service provisioning platform, it is going to be cloud native. We realize that the future is towards cloud native and microservice architecture. So that'll definitely be the case. But we won't be doing as a black and white strategy. We will try and look at practical approach of looking at what area we are touching, and if it makes sense to migrate the application to more cloud native approach, But that's a future strategy, right? It will be cloud native architecture.
Before we close this, maybe some parting remarks from your side, about, as you prepared for 5G, is there something that you would like to share with your fellow, let's say, telco service providers of the world? What you find, striking in preparing for this?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty new to the networks area. I come from IT background, worked more than 10 years in IT architecture and solutions, What I've learned so far in network is that there's probably more need for collaboration. And when I say collaboration, at organization level, between IT and infrastructure and network team, as well as at industry level, right? And I think the perfect example is when we talk about horizontal platform. We did not want to tie us down into hardware specific solution in platform as well. So we've been having conversation with one of the suppliers that how they could help us with the hardware certification process and how we can automate the whole hardware certification process. So we are not tied down to a compute nodes from a provider, from a suppliers. Instead, basically, we can choose suppliers we like, And we've been very open in the conversation saying that if we build hardware certification process and automate it at Spark, we are fine to share it with other telco providers at no cost. I think that sharing is the way to go. I'm sure that if other telcos would want to use the efforts that we've invested, there is no need to be afraid of sharing it.
That's very nice because it's fully in line with I'd say Red Hat spirit, which is it's open source and working on common problems, solving them and sharing them with the rest of the world. So you don't have to redo what others have done already. Okay, very nice. So thank you, Nilay, for sharing your insight as you prepare for 5G. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us, and wish you the best with your 5G deployment.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you rest of the team. Appreciate it.